Good evening. I'm Peter from Promega Leather, and I will be talking about the tricks that I use to drop in a lining on a tote bag. You know, so without wasting much of your time, I will go. Let's delve into it. So we have. I normally do about two kinds of stitch, like side stitch. I do the overlay stitch, and I also do the inlay stitch. If you can see on this bag, it is stitched internally, and on this bag, this side of the bag, the leather is resting on this other side, so it's an overlay stitch. So the very first thing you need to do is to, after stitching your bag, and is to measure the top of your bag and the bottom. You measure the circumference on the top and also the bottom, and you are measuring from the inside. So to do that, if it is an overlay stitch, you don't need to flatten these two edges here. Like in the case of this, I did this for purpose of this video. This is not leather. This is not leather. I did it for purpose of this video. As you can see here, this is folded. It's laying flat. So I did that because in order to get the circumference of the bag, let me just show you this real quick. On this side of my bag, there is a mark. That marks the midway, the middle of this side. And on this other side, there is another mark right there. There's another mark right there. That is the midway. And I will use the middle of the seam as my points in the edges here. This part is just like the gusset. So I'm going to use the midway, the middle of this seam as my points. So you have 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are your cardinal points. They guide you when you are dropping in your lining. They guide you. If you don't have these points, it will be really difficult to drop in the lining. It will not align perfectly. I'm going to talk about the problems that you have if you don't mark up your cardinal points. As we proceed with the video, I will talk about that. So different, not every crafter out there will have the same approach. But what I do, this is a simple trick, and it works pretty good. So this is what I do. I get a piece of cardboard paper. I cut it, like this is like 1¼ of an inch wide, and I just do this all around. Now after doing that, I use a pen and mark my starting point. I use a pen and mark my starting point right there. That is my starting point. That done? Place that on the table and I measure. You know, you can use anything to measure. Tailor's tape. I have about 33. So the next step will be to divide 33 inches by 2, and that will give us 16 inches. So you see that your length of your bag is 16 inches. That's what you see. The measurement on the top of the bag, trust me, is always different from the measurement at the base of the bag. So here we have 16. So I will just scratch that out. And we're gonna do the bottom. And there we have 32 and 1/2. There we have 32 and 1/2 of an inch. So we're still going to divide this into 2. That will be about 15 and a half is 31, 15 and 3/4. That would be about, this 33 here should be 16 and a half. Yeah, divided by 2 on the top, it should be 16 and a half, and 32 and 1/4 should be about 15 and 3/4, somewhere there, you know. About that. Let me see. Sixteen and 1/4. My math is failing me sometimes. That's good. So when you've had the measurement of the top and the measurement of the bottom, the next step that you will do is to find your height. So let me touch this real quick before I go to that. Now this is the pattern of this bag. This is the body, and this is the bottom. So the length here is 17 and 1/4 of an inch. Here is 16 and a half. That is the difference. So if you were to use this without measuring the top, it's not gonna fit. And the problem you will have is that after dropping in your liner, you will have little crevices on the top. The leather is not going to be smooth. It will be twisted somehow. That is the problem you will face. If you don't mark your cardinal points, the 4 cardinal points, like as I showed you, you will still have this same problem. Okay. That being said, let's proceed. The next step will be to measure the height of the bag. So, there is a seam around the bottom. There is a seam around the bottom. So, you start measuring from the top of that seam. From the top of that seam, I have about 7¼ of an inch. 7¼ Let's see the height here. The height here is 8½ 8½ So that is the difference. If we did not measure these from the top of this seam and the bottom to the top of our bag, we just used this same pattern we used in making the bag to do the liner, it will not fit. We will realize that the liner will be taller than the bag. It will not fit. So, after doing that, we will need to get the bottom, because in this case, we did the sides of the bag, the length times 2, and also we did the bottom. So the bottom here is 6½ As you can see here, I already put in a stiffener. Let me see if I can brighten that a little bit. You can see here I already put in a stiffener, a back stiffener right there. I will be doing another video to talk about stiffeners. So what I did, in order to create allowance for this, I went ahead and reduced the bottom of this bag by 3/4 of an inch all way round. So I had this pattern to do the stiffener. I had this pattern. So what I will do is I will use this pattern to do the bottom of the bag. I will not use this because it will be bigger. It will not fit. So I'm going to use this to do the bottom of the bag. Okay. So that being said, those are the simple steps that I take into consideration when I'm dropping in my liner. A lot of crafters, we all have different approaches, but I have come to realize that this way works best for me. It works best for me. You can follow my tips and improve and come up with other tricks to do it. But that is the way I do it. So basically there are 2 ways to drop your lining. One way is by stitching the lining, and you drop the bag inside of your lining. When you're stitching, I'm going to do a video on that. When you're stitching your lining, you leave an opening. You can do about 6 inches. You do an opening in your lining, not the bag, your lining. So you put in the bag in the lining. You're gonna flip your lining like that, and you're gonna put your bag in the lining. You put your bag. This bag should be bigger than that. Let me see if it will work. Let me see if it will work with this one. You know, you're gonna drop your bag in there. Now, you're gonna have an opening somewhere in the bottom. Okay, when you decide to use this method, you can use clamps. You can use clamps to hold that in place. You know, trust me, it will be, it may be a little bit shorter. You use clamps and hold that all around. You stitch, and you're gonna pull your bag and flip that. I'm gonna do a video on that. That is what I did here. As you can see, this was flipped. That is the lining. This is the top stitch, the first top stitch, when the lining was out of the bag. Then I pulled it out, I pulled it and I flipped it, then I do another stitch all around. That is one way. And there is this other method. As you can see, after dropping in the lining, I did some pinning all around. So there is this other method. So I'm going to do a video on this maybe tomorrow. So please, if you are new to this channel, subscribe, like, let's pass it on. You know, the skills that we learn every day, we should not, you know, we should pass it on. You know, do videos and, you know, show these skills to other leather crafters out there. That is my mission. That is my mission on this channel. So thanks very kindly. Until our next video, I remain Peter from Promega Leather. Peace.